Late at night, an old rabbi came to an Israeli checkpoint. The soldier was upset at being disturbed and aimed the gun at the old man and shouted, "Stop! Who are you? What do you want?" The rabbi hesitated for a moment and said, "My son, when will your military service end?" The soldier lost his train of thought and lowered his gun a little bit. "How is that your business?" he asked the rabbi. "I would like to hire you," replied the rabbi, "so that you can ask me these questions each day for the rest of my life." The story may be true or maybe not, but the questions raised affected me deeply. Who are you? And what do you want here? These are the basics of my life. What makes me the person I am? You can tell the soldier at the checkpoint your first and last name, and that's it. But is this enough? Who are you? Robert Anthony, Miriam Johnson, Daniel Hannah. Names alone don't mean anything.
Is this everything? Are we not more than that? I am a human being, one of 7 billion. I can walk, think, feel, and speak. But is this everything? Do others know me just because I am a human being? Am I not unique? At least I feel that way. What do you want on planet Earth? Don't our lives have to have meaning? Do you want to find the love of your life? Make your partner and kids happy? Do you want to find inner peace? Are you looking for the true, the good, and for the divine? Or do you want to become involved in social work or in the field of politics? Be a champion for the underdog? Do you want to do the right thing? To make the world a better place, at least for some people? Find your own destiny? If I discuss this topic with scientists, many of them will just smile warily while answering our questions. Meaning, destiny, fate, right and wrong. These are only relics of our superstitious past. I believe in true love, but my biology teacher always said that marriage developed to ensure reproduction despite the difficult conditions of reproduction of humankind. In an article published in a German magazine, an anthropologist states that believing in a supernatural power only exists because religion facilitates human communities. Through Amnesty International, I fight for torture victims. I write letters to them as well as to governments, support them financially. A psychotherapist would detect behind this selfless service an unconscious lack of self-confidence. A couple days ago, I had a heated discussion. Is it wrong to drive off if you have hit another car while backing up? According to many ethicists, this discussion is irrelevant. It is their conviction that right and wrong are cultural preferences we were raised with.
So, depending on the kind of scientist you ask, we are reduced to our early childhood experiences, our social conditioning, our prehistoric ancestors, or our brainwaves. What a disillusionment. Life has no special purpose, no higher meaning. We like the idea of being someone special, of achieving something extraordinary, but this feeling is a deception. We are only a piece of matter, a pawn in the claws of nature, just like everything else around us. We may think it does not feel right, but we just have to get used to it.
Or not. The book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, paints a different picture of reality, one that better fits our intuitive understanding of life. John, one of the closest friends of Jesus, gets a totally different view of reality in a vision. What he sees seems to be a fantastic making of world history, and it emphasizes that our lives do not have less importance than we assume, but a lot more than we realize. According to the book of Revelation, our reality is part of a cosmic conflict in which we play an important role. The images developed or portrayed are drastic and original. At one central point in the book of Revelation, we'll come back to this several times, John has a kind of nightmare. A war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon and his angels fought back, but they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. Rejoice then, you heavens, and those who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you with great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. So when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child.
How does this sound? Like a fantasy story? Especially if you're not used to the language in the book of Revelation, but let's not be confused by the pictures used by its author. There is a woman, a dragon, a child, and war. It doesn't matter how much we know about the main characters, something is quite obvious. They are fighting. As humans, we are in the midst of that conflict, taking place beyond our perception. We do not know what they are fighting for, but we must not be indifferent to this conflict because it affects our planet, the Earth. Hurled to the earth, filled with fury. Time is short.
Can this possibly be true? Can we allow ourselves to have such thoughts? Is there more than what science can prove? I am a Christian. I believe in God and I trust in the Bible. That is why I have to agree with this concept. But most of the time I live my life as if the material world around us is all we have. If I have to make important decisions, I often see only my own limited horizon. All that matters to me at times like this is to get through life as comfortably as possible. Do you feel the same way? We tend to forget that our life has a meaning which extends beyond these 80 years, that it matters what we do in life. I know this sounds a bit grand, but it would explain why, as humans, we all assume we are free and self-determined beings who long for some meaning in life. Can the Book of Revelation really reveal something to us about this?
When I was confronted for the first time with the idea that there is a universal war taking place that's beyond our perception, I felt like Jack, who is the 5-year-old main character and narrator in Emma Donoghue's novel Room. He was born in a 12 square meter size room, and ever since then he's been living there with his mother. In this room, there's also a table, a bed, a wardrobe, a TV, a stove and a fridge, and there's also a door. But Jack has never seen this door open. He and his mother play, sing, run, invent stories. Jack is leading a normal life, at least in his understanding. He knows that at night somebody comes to bring them food, but what he doesn't know is that this person is a criminal who kidnapped his mother 7 years ago, and he's been abusing her ever since. Jack has been held captive since his birth. Now, Jack has learned from his mother that this room is the only place that really exists. Outside this room, there is only an empty universe. Anything shown on TV is not real. With this worldview, Jack lives quite comfortably until his 5th birthday, when he's given a remote-controlled car and things get out of control. His mother decides to unlie him, that's what she calls it. She doesn't tell him details of her suffering, but reveals to him that Room is only a tiny part of reality. Outside, there is a big world with all those things that he sees on TV and even more. It takes some time until Jack realizes there are thousands of people, there are animals and cars and stores, and that there is sun and wind and rain. His mother tells him even more crazier things. She also has a mother living on the outside. She has gone to school and played with her brother. Jack answers, "My head's going to burst from all the new things I have to believe." He simply cannot grasp this truth. He didn't want to know anything outside his limited world. He didn't feel locked up. His reality consisted of 4 walls and his mother. What is normal for us was beyond his imagination and beyond his life up until the present. It even made this life seem questionable. Outside, there is everything. Skis, fireworks, or islands, or elevators, or yo-yos. I have to remember they're real, they're actually outside. And there are also people, firemen, teachers, robbers, babies, football players. They're all really there. I'm not there, though, me and Ma. We're the only ones not there. Do we really exist? In order to regain a sense of security, Jack calls his mother a liar, but then he sees a withered leaf outside the attic window. It's like a message from a different dimension. Although he slowly begins to grapple with the outside, it's not easy for him. While his mother regains strength from the truth, revives her memories, and develops a plan for their escape, Jack attempts to defend the room. That room is not that bad. The room is his life. I was so fascinated by Jack's perspective on life while reading, I sometimes sat there quite breathless. His experiences are similar to mine. For years, my reality has been limited to the materialistic part of the world, to the visible part of life. And life was good, a little bit of everything, family and friends, suffering and enjoyment, living and the prospect of dying at the end, and nothing else. And then the Bible, especially the book of Revelation, confronted me with the possibility that beyond my perception there have always been worlds and powers beyond my world and in my world. War is taking place. Yes, maybe a fight for my world. At first this was too much for my imagination. I felt like Jack. This cannot be true. This is a lie. Somebody must have invented this. My head is going to burst because of all these new things I must believe. At this point, the book of Revelation really sounds fantastic and fabulous and surreal. Jack would say, outside there is everything. Angels, worlds, God, unlimited life. I have to remember this again and again. They really exist. They are really outside. I am the only one who is not there. We are the only ones who are not there.
But if we begin to believe in this view, we will realize that it works, that it makes sense. It defines me and my life in a totally new way, in a way that is consistent with the assumptions about ourselves and the world which we take for granted daily. For example, my longing for the love of my life has nothing to do with a biological species preservation program running in my body. Rather, it is a sign that relationships are the fabric of life in this universe. I do not ask myself how I can find inner peace out of a subconscious desire to stabilize society through my religious search. No, I do so because I perceive the enormous tension between good and evil, a tension which really exists. A being whose life has meaning, that is how I always wanted to be. To truly love, that is the way I want to live. Who am I? A being who is morally responsible. A person whose free decisions have a significant impact. Have you always viewed yourself like this? Then you also believe in the war between good and evil, maybe without knowing or realizing it until now. Who are you and what do you want? The book of Revelation invites us to think in a totally new way. We live on a planet which is being fought for. Our life has a higher meaning. Allow yourself to think about that. Pay attention to the leaves outside the attic window.